Since their last triumph in the Champions League in 2018, Real Madrid have won just a single piece of major silverware, last season's La Liga, while this year marks the first time in 3 years they've made it past the UCL last 16. Los Blancos are a side in transition, and that transition doesn't look much closer to being completed than it did 2 years ago. Poor investments have made progress slow on the field, the COVID crisis and new stadium debt have meant spending has been limited in the last year, and a presidential election this summer means Florentino Perez could be challenged for the first time since he re-entered office in 2009. With all this in mind, let's take a look at what steps Los Blancos can take to get back to the very top. Keep Zidane. When any top side underperforms, the position of the manager is always brought into question. And although Zinedine Zidane is in the small minority of coaches to quit Real Madrid of his own accord, he hasn't been spared the scrutiny in his second stint in charge. Following a number of poor displays early in the season, speculation over his future was rife, and in a poll carried out by Marca as recently as January, 72% of supporters said they felt Zidane's time at the club was coming to an end. But while this season has been far from perfect, Zidane still looks the right man for the job, and one reason is that there aren't many better managers available. Max Allegri has been out of a job for almost 2 years now, Julian Nagelsmann has his eyes firmly on Bayern, and Mauricio Pochettino, long seen as an ideal successor to Zidane, is now at PSG. What's more, the Frenchman has shown more tactical now since returning in 2019, guiding an ageing side to the Spanish title last term on the back of an incredibly well-drilled defence, while his 60% win rate is actually better than Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. But that doesn't mean there isn't a lot of work to do. Many of the players who won him his first Champions League in 2016 while at their physical peak are still key members of his squad 5 years later, so it's no surprise that they've been overtaken by the likes of Man City and Bayern Munich. The average age of his side has jumped from 25.9 to 27.3 in that time, despite the signings of countless under-23 players, and Zidane's failure to utilise talents like Kovacic, Hakimi and Ceballos has certainly contributed to what is an increasingly slow transition period. Bringing back a player as good as Martin Odegaard and persisting with him would be a good first step in reshaping this Madrid side, and keeping a leader like Ramos at the club, even if only for a season or two more, is also crucial. But if Zidane is to get Real back to their former glory, he will of course need to bring in new players too. Let's take a look at the first one. But before we move on to our next section, are you subscribed to Eurofootball Daily? And if not, why not? Hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't done so already, so you never miss another great video like this one. A new destroyer. In the first months of this season, Real Madrid's backline came under close scrutiny, and in particular following damning Champions League defeats to Shakhtar Donetsk in the absence of captain Sergio Ramos. Rafael Varane looked lost without his trusted partner, Thibaut Courtois was bereft of confidence, and the backline looked a shadow of the one which had kept the best defensive record in Europe's top 5 leagues the previous campaign. However, since then, things have improved significantly. They've conceded more than 1 goal in a league game just once since the end of November, conceding just 0.6 goals per game during a period in which Ramos has missed 11 of 17 matches. That's come all the way down from an average of 1.2 goals conceded per game in the first 2 months of the campaign, and reflects very well on the players who have filled in for absentees, namely Lucas Vazquez and Nacho. Considering Real have suffered the worst injury crisis of all teams in La Liga, with 11 different players spending time on the sidelines as early as October, and 41 separate injuries reported by the end of February, they haven't done badly at all on the defensive end, conceding 23 goals after 28 games. And while the contract situations of Ramos and Varane are a bit worrying, we would expect at least one of them to extend, and the potential signing of David Alaba on a free would instantly improve the back line. One area which has seemingly been given less thought, however, is defensive midfield, where there is zero depth. Casemiro has been the club's only recognised DM for the last 4.5 seasons, and he's missed just 10 games since the end of 2016. And it's just as well. The Brazilian has consistently led the Merengues squad for tackles and interceptions for the last 5 years, with his current average of 5.1 per 90 ranking him third among midfielders in Spain. But while Casemiro's ability to win back possession and protect the back four remains world class, his distribution has taken a dip this season. He ranks 11th in the squad for progressive passes, down from 6th in 2019-20, while his completed long balls have dropped from 6.6 to 4.6 per 90, his worst average in a white jersey, with Toni Kroos, who is now completing a ridiculous 10.2 long passes per match, picking up the slack. With Kroos 31, Modric 35 and Casemiro turning 30 next year, Madrid need a midfielder who excels in the defensive and attacking phases of play, can step in seamlessly for Casemiro and match the work rate of Federico Valverde, or play alongside the Brazilian in a double pivot. Ren wonderkid Edouardo Camavinga has long been linked with the Spanish champions, but with a reported asking price of €60 million plus hanging over him, he may be out of reach this summer. And even if Real could bargain for the youngster, whose contract expires in 2022, it's worth exploring other options. Manuel Locatelli has been linked with Los Blancos in the last month and is perhaps an even better candidate than Camavinga right now. Unlike the teenager, who may take a few years to work out his most effective position, Locatelli has found his groove as a deep-lying playmaker at Sassuolo. The 23-year-old makes 4.4 tackles and interceptions per 90, impressive in a side which retains the most possession in Serie A, while his passing range rivals the best in Europe. His 7.8 progressive passes per 90 would rank him second in the Real squad behind Kroos, and is actually marginally better than Man City's Kevin De Bruyne. His 8.3 passes into the final third, meanwhile, is also behind only Kroos at the Bernabeu, and isn't far off what David Alaba averages at Bayern. He also has an excellent fitness record, missing just 3 games through illness or injury since making his Milan debut back in 2016, and could be available for less than €40 million. If Real want to regain the thrust that once made their midfield the most feared in Europe, Locatelli would be a good base from which to build. Fix the forward line. The story of Real Madrid's attack over the last 3 years is well known. Ronaldo's exit signalled an even bigger drop-off than most expected, with Karim Benzema providing almost all of the attacking output at the Bernabeu since. In his final season, CR7 contributed to 33% of the side's La Liga goals, while Benzema provided 41% of them in 2019-20, a figure which has risen to 47% this term. The signing of Eden Hazard has so far been a disaster, while both Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo are yet to become key contributors to the side. Last season, Sergio Ramos was the club's second top scorer in the league, and this term it's been Casemiro, with Benzema remaining the only player at the club to average over 0.4 expected goals per 90. At Barcelona, there are 5 players who breach this figure. Despite predominantly playing with wingers, Zidane has got woefully little output from out wide, and in order to challenge the very best in Europe again, this will need to change. And given the club's financial situation, they would likely need to sell a significant asset before they brought in any new talent. There's no other option but to stick by Hazard and hope he regains fitness and form, and while Rodrigo has also had his own injury problems, has the makings of a top-class creator, with his key passes per 90 rising from 1.3 to 2.5 this term. Asensio has found some scoring form again of late, and while he isn't the world-class attacker he promised to be in his youth, at 25 still has a lot to offer, and at worst is a very solid squad player. Luka Jovic, on loan at Eintracht Frankfurt, has seen his market value plummet to under €30 million. So, given his age profile and valuation, Vinicius is probably the best bet for a sale. Despite racking up close to 4,000 league minutes across the last 3 seasons, his goal and assist output hasn't really improved, even if his 0.62 expected goals and assists per 90 is impressive. What's more, it feels like he doesn't have the full trust of Zidane, with almost half his appearances coming off the bench. And with the Football Observatory still valuing him at over €70 million, Real would be confident of making a profit on the $45 million they paid for him in 2018. In his place, Los Blancos should bring in a more proven final third operator. Despite his strong links to Barcelona, Memphis Depay has expressed an interest in moving to Real in the past, and is available for a free in the summer, meaning Madrid could spend any money from the Vinicius sale on another forward, or a long-term replacement for Carvajal at right back. The fact they have been granted a higher salary cap by La Liga than rivals Barca, meaning they can actually increase their wage budget this summer, could also put them at an advantage in securing a deal for the Dutchman. If the Blaugrana don't act fast enough in reducing their wage bill, Real would have the chance to offer Memphis a superior contract. The Lyon captain is set to hit double figures for both goals and assists in the league for the 3rd time in 4 seasons, averaging a goal involvement every 101 minutes this term and generating 0.95 expected goals and assists per 90, which would rank him second in La Liga behind Lionel Messi. Predominantly playing as a centre forward since the 18-19 campaign, Memphis could be used as an alternative to Benzema, giving the veteran much needed rest, while his creative edge and experience as a left winger means he can also play on the flank when Hazard isn't available. This would allow Zidane to easily rotate, making his attack more unpredictable, and he could also choose to play Memphis and Benzema in a front two. At 27, he's hardly a rising star, but the opportunity to sign someone on a free who instantly makes your attack more productive is a rare one. And if they want to make another investment up top, there are plenty of options. Like his countryman Memphis, PSV's Donyell Malen can play both through the centre or on the left, while Leverkusen's Moussa Diaby and Sociedad's Mikel Oyarzabal offer more creativity from out wide. As for classic centre-forwards, Alexander Isak or Andre Silva are two of the very best in Europe this term, and wouldn't cost Haaland or Mbappé money. While recalling Borja Mayoral, who is averaging 0.7 expected goal involvements per 90 on loan at Roma, would also be a wise move. Transitioning defences and midfields can take a while, just look at clubs like Man United and Arsenal over the last 10 years. But if Zidane can breathe new life into his attack, it could spare him valuable time to get the other areas of his side into top shape. So that was our take on how to fix Real Madrid, but who would be top of your wish list if you were Zinedine Zidane? Let us know in the comments below and try and be a bit more creative than Haaland or Mbappé. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave us a like, and why not check out the latest EFD Explains on why the Chinese Super League was doomed to fail. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.